then I
Okay.
can.
There we go.
Good. Okay. Yeah. And a trained hospice volunteer too. So there you go with Guelph Wellington. So yeah. So I'll just share this poem again with you. It's Goldie Hawn used it as a tribute at Sammy Davis Jr.'s roast, actually. But she began it with this, and it's here's to the kids who are different, the kids who don't always get A's, the kids who have ears twice the size of their peers and noses that go on for days. Here's to the kids who are different, the kids they call crazy and dumb, the kids who aren't cute and don't give a hoot, who dance to a different drum. Here's to the kids who are different, the kids with a mischievous streak, for when they are grown, as history has shown, it's their differences that make them unique. So, and by the sounds of what you've already shared about Shea is that there certainly was a uniqueness in how they dressed, how they presented, how they put themselves together. And that's a real gift because sometimes, as we know, even when times are tough, there's certain people that can still pull themselves together. And it's like, that is amazing because on a bad day, I look terrible. So, and we're reminded on a day like today that life is a journey and that none of us are promised this perfect life, not people of faith, not regular everyday people. That's just the reality. But the promise that we are given, regardless of who we are or what we do, is that we have available to us these variety of tools and to help us get through. And usually they're people, right? So it's the people who get us through at all of those different times that touch us in our lives. So I don't know Shea's story, where they came from, where they grew up, how they ended up in Toronto. But if I have my guess, they came to Toronto as a chance to find community, likely because they felt different. And when you do feel different, it's often better to be in a place where you don't feel like you stand out quite as much. And sometimes also where, you can find some of your own people and you begin to meet like-minded people and maybe people who are different as well. And you hope that you find some place to call home. You find some peace, a sense of comfort amongst all the differences that are out there. There's a book called The Same Kind of Different. It's a story about an African-American fellow who escapes life in the deep South, and he ends up in Texas. He's treated poorly, he sleeps on the street, he eats from the garbage can. But somewhere along the way, he found the grace and the mercy of this couple that sort of befriended him and just gave him that tiny bit of kindness that lifted him out of this hole of despair that he just felt was so deep and so terrible that he was never going to emerge from. And it helped him just enough that he was able to help others who faced similar challenges. And he was able to offer them just that little bit of kindness. And it wasn't about money or gifts or anything tangible. They were none of those service things and services that service can provide, but he was able to offer them time, offer them hope, just being there, engaging, interacting, to know that they weren't alone, offer them enough that hopefully they could be just lifted up enough to help others exist as well. And I think if we offer that gift to folks, then that's something that we can do, and we don't need a lot of resources to be able to do that. Because again, the name of the book, we are all the same kind of different. And we all have our own struggles, and we all have family, and we all have our background and our history, and we also have those things that make our hearts sing. And when you think of a loved pet and being in community and those things that make us sing. And we also have our own fears, and we have those things that give us determination and help us to get up in the morning. and we meet random people and they come into our lives and we have that opportunity. And for all of those things, then it makes life matter. And in the end, all we really want is to be loved and to be known, and know that we mean something to someone. And Shauna, this poem was the one that you had suggested from Four Weddings and a Funeral, and it's interesting because when I read it, it's great because it gives us a different take. Stop all the clocks, cut off the telephone, prevent the dog from barking with a juicy bone, silence the pianos with a muffled drum, bring out the coffin, let the mourners come. Let airplanes circle moaning overhead, scribbling on the sky the message he is dead. But put paper bows around the neck of the public doves. Let the traffic policeman wear black cotton gloves. He was my north, he was my south, my east, my west, my working week, my Sunday rest, my noon, my midnight, my talk, my song. I thought that love would last forever, but I was wrong. The stars are not wanted now. Put everyone away. Pack up the moon and dismantle the sun. Pour away the ocean and sweep up the wood, for nothing now can ever be any good. This poem, of course, was written for a lover losing the love of their life. But really what it reminds us of is that we are all important and we want to feel important, regardless of who we are. And the poem, it actually seems to suit Shea that, it is just that little bit dramatic. And that was the poem that came to Shauna's mind. And it just, we want someone to feel that way about us. And that's why we gather, just to offer this moment in this day to come together, to offer up as family and friends and folks that walk through Shea's life, to be able to say that life mattered. And we mark this moment. And and it's a privilege to be able to do this, and certainly in the work that you do. And in 15 years ago, that who would have thought that you would have this person sort of would become part of your fabric in lots of different ways. We want that. We want this clock to stop. We want people to notice us. And the reality is that this flame has gone out. And often what at services, I light the flame at the beginning as we remember all of those folks in our lives who have gone before us. And then I blow it out at the end. And, we're reminded that that's okay, because shade is now everywhere we are. So we can let the candle blow out, and it's fine, because now we'll carry the memories and the opportunity to walk with them, in their final days. What a privilege to, how long have you been in with hospice?
About 6 months.
Oh my goodness, holy cow. It will be the adventure of your life.
It already is.
That is so wonderful. It is. I think of life and death and birth. I was at the birth of my nephew, and I saw him take this first big breath, and all I could think of, my sister labored and there was all this going on and everything else, and took this first big breath, and all I could think was, who will be there to catch him at the end? And the fact that Shea could be caught and held by you folks in a safe place, a place of comfort, it's a pretty lovely thing. And that's what hospice is all about. Those will be the journeys that you'll be on, to be able to walk with people in all their different wonderfulness. So, Shauna, you are the one who stopped in your tracks, right? You're the one who stopped to make sure that, we could spend this few minutes just to honor Shea's life, recognize that, he could be a pain in the ass, that that unshakable presence that somehow, somewhere you got attached to, and again, became your fabric, whether you liked it or not. And you stopped long enough somewhere along the line to let him know he mattered. And that's and so then we gather to mark this life. And we say, hey, they meant something to us. They helped us to appreciate just how fragile life is and just how precious it is. And again, that life isn't perfect, but we all need people, we all need each other. And now Shea is a part of all of our stories, which is a beautiful thing. And you recognize, of course, that every day, and that people do mean something, regardless of their background, where they come, whether we understand them, whether they drive us crazy. And we have no idea what comes after this. Who knows? But all I do know is that, all of these atoms in our bodies, they form countless molecules. And once our bodies cease to support these molecules, they too begin to disintegrate. The atoms that make up those molecules, however, they continue to exist unchanged. They return to the environment where they react with atoms and other elements, and they form new molecules. Peter Tachel writes, death is not the end, but the beginning of a metamorphosis. For matter is never destroyed, it's just rearranged, often more perfectly. Witness how, in the moment of the caterpillar's death, the beauty of the butterfly being born and released from the prison of the cocoon, and then it flies free. Our blessing is for Shea is that they are now flying free of all these earthly trappings that can sometimes weigh us down, tie us down, think that we're not enough, think that we need to conform, tell us what to do, who we are. And we just have that hope of freedom, just to be able to set some of the expectations around, free to be truly what we are intended to be, meant to be. We trust that beyond absence, there's presence, that beyond pain, there can be healing, that beyond brokenness, there may be wholeness, that beyond anger, there may be peace, that beyond hurting, there may be forgiveness, that beyond silence, there may be the word, and that beyond the word, there may be understanding. And through understanding, there's love. And there's always love. And it's free. It's ours to share, ours to give, sometimes ours when we need to protect ourselves to withhold it as well. But there is that love that we offer up, and we're able to. So thank you for just sharing a little bit of Shea for you folks tuning in and just marking this moment. And thank you, Shauna. You're a tough gal. Like, I know, like, you want to, but that this person came into your life, and who would have thought, 15 years later you would be honoring it? Thank you. Thank you for that. So,
Thank you.
great.
Thank you.
Good.
Does anybody have anything they just want
Yeah,
to say
sure,
with, Shea's aunt and uncle cousin
Yes.
or anything they want to say at all? Because it's certainly not, there's no obligation. I might, but if anybody else.
Yeah, please.
I'm a bit of a ham,
Mhm.
but if anybody has something they'd like to say, please, come up. Or you can just, because we're kind of far from the mic. So if you want to say something, no obligation. Okay, I'm gonna get up. You guys are hesitant.
Yeah,
Maybe
you
I'll come up
do it.
after.
And
Okay.
honestly, beware, this is a terrible angle for me.
Excellent.
So.
Okay, I'm sure it'll be just as terrible for me.
Right angle.
Okay, so I just want, hi. I just want to say that thank you. I'm very happy to see some people here at all, because I really didn't know who was going to come. It's hard to reach out to people when you're disconnected from people in their world. Shea was my part, like I had a part of Shea's world, and then there was a lot of other people in it that I didn't know. I reached out to those I could. And thank you all for being here. For Diane and Jeff, and for Jessica, who've lost their nephew and their cousin. I know Shea had very fond memories and love for you all, and really missed spending time with you. He spoke quite highly of you and how loved and honored he felt as a human being when he spoke of you. Though estranged from most of his family for a very long time, he did have a very soft spot for them. I really wish I knew where some of the stories he created were from, though, because this man told, if he'd been a screenwriter, it would have been fantasy movies. We wouldn't have believed that it could ever even come to somebody's brain what was going on and what he would tell me. And I'd shake my head. Like, I believe he told you that he was born in Edinburgh, Scotland. Was-
Wales.
Oh, Wales, I'm sorry. He was born in Wales and he was born in Edmonton. You know, Wales is way more exotic, but and I'm sure he believed it when he told you, like his truth was very interesting and very fluid. So thank you for being support for Jay. Even though you weren't here physically, he definitely felt your love and support. And Jessica, I know he talked very glowingly of his cousins and missed them all very much. And quite seriously, in November, I thought we were gonna, you know, he was gonna bounce back again. Because he's done this a few times. He was in the hospital a few years ago and they were, oh, he's never leaving. This is it. And then like, boom, he's out and he's back. And it's, oh, okay. So I really was surprised by this, but, you know, he wasn't well. And, though we'll miss him, it was the best next step for him. So again, thank you all for being here. I really appreciate it. And I'm sure Shea appreciates it too. Diane, Jessica, Jeff, be well. And I'll get to Winnipeg one day and we'll go to Ray and Jerry's and for coffee or something. Okay. Okay. I got the thumbs up from Diane. Okay. My aunt lives in Winnipeg. That's why I know Ray and Jerry's. I've been there. Okay. So I'm going to pass it back to Brad to just wrap it up, unless you guys have something you'd like to say, and you don't have to. It's just, no, you're good? Okay, cool. All right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Okay.
Right, thank you.
Well, thank you. Only because I think you both did a great job.
Oh.
I mean, Shea, yeah.
Well, you know, and it's nice because you folks have done the heavy lifting in this. So nice for you to be able to just to gather and just take a deep breath and say, you know what, and again, job well done, you know, and you do that every day. So as volunteers and as staff and, you know, and those are the important things, right? So yes, so that's, well, I'll you folks have my email address and I'll figure out how to send you the recording. Again, oh, now you're all in the same room. Holy
Yeah,
Lord.
they're on the same couch.
Yeah, they're on the same couch. That's amazing. So, okay, thank you very much. I'll be in touch with an email and send that along. So, okay, thank you. Right. Right.
Either their speaker on